Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we are working on our window manager. And today's topic is I want to support resizing. So I guess technically, we're also working on our window manager and our window system. We are kind of writing in lockstep a Wayland compositor and a Wayland client. We are not using lib Wayland because I don't like it, but also because it's kind of more fun to do it this way. And so like what you're seeing here is you're seeing our Wayland client running here. He is creating a new Wayland window manager that lives inside here. And we're seeing two of our Wayland clients again running inside. We're getting like, somewhat close to a reasonable window manager, right? These guys can be moved around. They can be closed. Wowzer. They hang on closed not because of anything wrong in our window manager, but because there's like a bug in our application that I haven't fixed. But, we'll deal with that at some point. But yeah, that's where we're at. And so I want to do resize. And so I think like the plan of action is to start by like looking at our, like what happens when I click here and drag like this, right? You'll see nothing's happening when I try to resize this thing, and something should happen. So we should probably hit that first, or maybe we do it on the other client first, the like our demo, this guy, right? We should support this guy resizing, which we don't right now. Then once we get that implemented, we can implement resize on the compositor. Then we will in the compositor like try to detect when we are clicking on a window border and like do resize. And then send the resize to clients. And then hopefully we will be able to run our client inside our window manager and see a resize happen. That's the plan. We'll see, how it goes, but that is the plan. Will you support doors eventually? That is a great question. Great question. Probably not, but thank you for asking. Is this a lot of leaks? It kind of is a lot of leaks. This is kind of scary. We might actually want to fix this right now. Yeah, we probably do. We probably do. Input events, where is it? Window.zig. Let's just quickly fix our little leaky. We'll call this fix leaky. This is what I get for using, we kind of wrote the client before we realized how we wanted to work with, Zig, like allocators in like a way that we kind of settled on. And so, usually we don't have like a big chance of leaks, but in this scenario, we are in the old style where we can forget to free stuff. And then on top of that, since I usually don't free stuff, it's really easy to like, when we're in this state, for me to just like fucking forget. So it looks like he was mad at input events append slice here leaking. So is it like is it literally that we're just not deinitting input events? That feels, we do deinit input events here. Yeah, that's actually quite confusing. Are we just not deinitting our thing in main? Are we not deinitting the window? We are. Are we doing something stupid like resetting input events without freeing it? Yeah. Idiots. Idiots, I say. There are still some more, but these are different ones. So this is related to... Oh, yeah. That makes sense. So we're kind of mixing and matching some readers somewhere. Let me look. Yeah, we like initialize this guy and we create some buffers in here and we don't free them. Because in this compositor, we don't ever expect to have to free, but in the client, we do. So I actually think that's mostly okay. It's only a few leaks, so I'm just gonna ignore this for now. But we fixed like the ones that are happening every frame. So that's good enough for now. Good enough for now. I'm not gonna worry about it. In fact, I'm gonna worry so little about it so little about it, we're just going to turn off the leak checking. Easy fix. And then I'll regret that later when at some point we run out of memory and and I have to kill something. But for now, it's good enough. Okay. Back to what we were actually trying to do. Client resizing. So when I run this guy and I start, okay, we gotta redirect this output somewhere. And I start doing this. What happens? What happens? Someone somewhere must be saying something to us. Unused. Do we have logs for unused events? We have pointer events that we're not using. But you know, in like the bottom 10,000 messages, I'm actually not seeing any interesting logs about resizes, which is kind of surprising. So we might be missing some interface that we need to present to kwin to tell it that it supports resize. So, you know, Alexa is saying or Eliante is saying that we have to bind to top level, but we do have a top level. So I'm surprised that we're not seeing that. I would like to make sure that we are actually logging all of our events. We might not be doing that because we might be fucking idiots. Let's take a look. As an attachment XG top level to our service. We should be doing that, right? We have this, right? Top level here. We do things like we set the title and shit. So on handle event, are we correctly logging? Else log, and are these are debug logs? Let's say unused event, okay. And what about like if we see top level events? Unhandled top level event. Oh, maybe it was just unhandled, not unused. We changed the name for that one. Okay, let's check that. Unhandled. Ah, here we go. So we are seeing configure events come in with a width and height that is changing, which is good. So there's also this states thing, which I don't really know what that is. So let's take a look at this guy. So in the XDG shell wayland protocol, somewhere he is emitting an event that says, hey, I have some things to configure. This configure event asks the client to resize its top level surface or to change its state. The configured state should not be applied immediately, but should be applied on next XDG surface configure. The width and height arguments specify hints to the window about how its surface should be resized in window geometry coordinates. See set window geometry. Okay. See set window geometry for width, height, coordinate space. If the width and height arguments are 0, it means that we get to choose. Perfect. So we do send that once on init. The states listed in the event specify how the width and height arguments should be interpreted and possibly how it should be drawn. Okay, so I guess this is a so this states is an array. It doesn't really, this is like very unclear about like what this means, right? Like we can kind of infer looking at this that they are uints with like numbers 3 and 4 in here, right? So if we look at like the state enum, the question is does 3 and 4 make sense? Yes, right? We see resizing here is 3 and activate is 4. So it does, we're missing some metadata here. I wonder if this is in the XML. So this is the configure event. We are looking for XG top level. And we're looking for the configure event here. I want to see if there's like more metadata in the XML that is kind of lost there. Name equals configure. Suggest a surface change. So this is, yeah, no, it's not. There's not any extra metadata in here, but we do see that the like state enum. I think I saw in here. I saw something about originally used for something here. The different states used on the surface. This is designed for state values like maximize full screen is paired with the configure event to ensure that both the client and the compositor setting the state can be synchronized. So there is like something in here where it's supposed to be like this, but for now, I think it's not unreasonable to just ignore this, right? If we like look at what's in here, there's maximized, full screen, resizing, and activated, and none of this really changes anything about how we're going to handle this thing, right? Then there's like tiled, suspended, like none of this stuff really changes how I'm going to interpret this, which is I'm going to just set my thing to the size that it asked for, right? So I'm just going to do that unconditionally. And if we need to look at state later, we have to look at state later, but for now, let's ignore it. Windowsing. So what are we doing here? We're looking for XCG top level notifications. And if we see a configure, we have some parameters to look at, right? And I think that these are not committed until the surface is configured. Why is it an array though? Seems strange. Yeah. Instead of like a bit field. Yeah, I agree. It's a bit weird that you're logging a bunch of zeros in that array. The protocol defines arrays as a bunch of bytes, and then you like reinterpret them however you need to, if I remember correctly. So maybe there's something extra there. I'd be maybe a little interested in seeing how lib wayland handles it. But whatever. We need to focus. So yeah, I think they said that this doesn't happen until the configure event on the surface gets called. So when we see a top level, we need to like resolve which surface this is for. And we know, I guess like we know that we only have one surface right now, right? That's like a thing, because we're the client, like we get to choose what exists. So we know that there's only one top level for our one surface. So there's no resolution to do on this side of things. Probably a byte array and zig and a specs as array of U32, so probably just empty bytes. Oh, that might be my bad. That might be my bad then. I could have sworn specs said U8s, but I could be wrong. Okay. So here we just have like self XCG surface. Wonderful. I don't know if we have any state associated with this thing, but we do just have like a surface sitting around here. So I guess like when we see a configure, we kind of want to like to set some pending configuration options, right? Right here we want like surface info or something. And then in here we have like a pending, I guess it's like maybe we'll just do like pending surface info. And we'll kind of do this. Sure. And then when we see that like top level request, we'll just say like pending surface info dot width is params width. This doesn't seem crazy. This is simple enough for now. And then what is in like params here? Why is this not resolving? That's weird. Where are we? Is this top level? Yeah, it looks like it. So this guy has width and height as I32s, not U32s. So let's fix that. But it looks like it's just like the language server is not figured out what is attached to this, because I guess the client is like, he kind of technically works on any set of wayland bindings, and so maybe he just doesn't know which bindings we're using right now. Okay. So we have some width and some height, and when we get surface configure, I'm sorry, what the fuck? I guess here we know that there's only one event that could come in, so we're just assuming. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. Let's fix that. That's crazy to not fucking be sure. Okay. Configure params. Params. Okay, so here we need to ask our OpenGL context to resize. So if I remember correctly, we kind of refactored this so that the OpenGL context is like completely external to us, actually. So I think here we have access to something. GL context here. And then here I think we just go like GL context, like request resize. With pending surface info width and pending surface info height. That seems kind of reasonable. Right? I think, or someone's saying that I might have to map this to WL surface configure. Am I wrong? I think this is fine. Do I use WL surface configure at all? I don't think so. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. And if it's not fine, fuck it. You know? So here we want, where the fuck were we? GL's default GL context. So we said we're gonna have some function. Request resize. And so does it like compile in its current form? Pending surface info needs to be initialized. And I guess here we just set these to 0 off rip, like who cares? What's he pissed about here? Oh, null context also needs request resize. Which maybe we do need to do something with? Because I think we use this on init. So fix me on init if we get a configure. Do we need to do something? I think no, because how does this guy like, I think when we initialize the window, we ask for its preferred size somewhere. Maybe we don't, but we should if we don't. Like, how do we know how big to make? Oh, we just assume that they say 0, 0, I guess. You have to act configure on the surface. Yeah, we do already do that. There's an act configure here. So we're already doing that. It's just like we should actually do it as well. You know, yeah, that seems reasonable. Did I fuck up the... Oh, and then we, in our window manager, also inject here, like, a different OpenGL context. So we need to fix that as well. Wayland backend in the compositor. For now, we just have to stub this function out. Where are we? Hello? Hello? Where does this go? Service. Oh, here we go. Outstanding buff notifier. So this guy, he also wants a request resize. So this is gonna have to like change names probably. And then this is gonna have to be like implemented. But we can worry about this way later. Way later. I don't give a fuck right now. I don't give a fuck. All right. What's he pissed about now? Still? I just fucking throw that in there. No? Pub function request resize. Am I fucking stupid? Did I spell wrong? I must have spelled it wrong. That's classic. Okay. So now theoretically something will happen here. So we'll write here resize time for me now with our width and height. And let's just kind of see if we see that. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And we're hoping to see resize time for me now. And we do see one at 0 by 0, by the way. But we also see something more reasonable. Okay. So I guess if width equals 0 and height equals 0, we probably just don't give a fuck. Right? We'll just, our preferred size will be whatever size we already were. And now we have to start doing something more interesting. So, okay. The way these surfaces work. Okay, we're rendering this monkey head with OpenGL, right? Let's open the window so we can take a look at it. Fuck. Hold on. Right, every frame, we render this monkey head, he's spinning, whatever, and we like put him in some window somehow, right? What is the like total way that this works? There's kind of a few pieces to this thing. There is, at the very, very, very lowest level, right? My monitor is plugged into my computer's GPU, right? You know, this is like my little desktop tower, this is GPU in here. You know, this guy is talking to the CPU over a PCI bus, right? This guy has like memory on him that is probably being referenced directly for scan out to this thing. There's also like, you know, there's stuff going on in this cable to like figure out how to transfer pixel data effectively from like the GPU to your screen. But like hand wavy, we can pretend, well, this may not be true. We can pretend that there's like some memory in the GPU that has the data that it's trying to display in some segment of the screen, right? How do we are kind of like making that data though, right? And we're doing it by taking a bunch of 3D geometry and running it through some program, right? So we're kind of taking like a bunch of triangles, right? Boom, boom, these are triangles. And we're like coloring them in according to some rules, right? And these rules are like custom programs that run on the GPU, right? So every GPU will be able to run some form of program that determines, you know, how I'm going to manipulate these objects in 3D space, how I'm going to color them, blah, blah, blah. But every GPU is going to do it differently. Oh, I should also say, by the way, I'm making this all up somewhat, right? Like I'm dumping my mental model, not necessarily the truth, which are maybe the same, maybe not, right? But you know, we have some like arbitrary program that we want to run on this thing, but every GPU will probably run that thing differently because, you know, every GPU is trying to like get faster and faster, and they're going to like make different optimizations, blah, blah, blah. They're gonna have like different hardware to do the same thing, whatever, right? So we use OpenGL, which is kind of this like specification of how I as a programmer will write these things, and then the GPU driver will like compile these things for their GPU, right? So OpenGL, that's one piece of this puzzle. OpenGL is not anything about actual display of this thing, right? All OpenGL defines, as far as I understand, is like, I am going to render somewhere. I'm going to render to some buffer, right? So this guy's like, he needs to know the size of the buffer he's rendering to so that he knows what to render, but he's basically just like render. So somebody has to take the thing that he rendered and put it on the screen, right? So there's this other library called EGL, which kind of holds OpenGL's hand. They're kind of like next to each other. And I think of EGL as kind of like system stuff, right? So OpenGL is like, I'm going to render once my system is set up. This is like, okay, so I have these buffers. I want to display them, right? So one thing that EGL will provide is this called like swap, which basically says like take the thing that's currently on the monitor and replace it with this other thing that's currently on the monitor. We're kind of skimming over some details there because on the monitor is not necessarily what EGL is talking about. EGL kind of is like agnostic to where the thing is being displayed, right? He's kind of like, I will give you an interface that you can call for anywhere that you're putting these OpenGL things. Any way you want to interact with this, like I'll fucking do it for you, right? So EGL kind of works on top of like the idea of like a platform, if I remember correctly. Platform. And so like what you will do is you will initialize EGL and you will say, hey, like I want you to work on this thing, right? So like one of those things might be, if I am the window manager, this thing might be like a reference to some memory that is displayed for the whole fucking monitor, right? But if I'm like a normal window running in this thing, this platform is going to be a handle to this Windows surface here, right? And so like in normal usage of EGL, EGL actually has like a built-in implementation of talking to a wayland compositor that depends on libwayland. But we're not fucking using libwayland, right? We're outside of that world because we didn't like it. So there's a platform that you can use for EGL called GBM, which I think stands for generic buffer management, maybe GPU buffer management. But basically what we do is we say, hey, EGL, could you please hold this buffer and just pretend this buffer is the only thing you know about. So every time somebody calls swap buffers, you swap buffers on this like generic buffer. And then we will kind of like pull that out and like use that the way we want. So what we do when we send data to like the window manager for display is we will take this GBM buffer and like collect all the information that we want from it in the way that we want it and send it over to the other process for rendering. So all of that is to say, when we resize, this guy needs to get updated, this guy needs to get updated, and this guy needs to get updated. GBM, EGL, OpenGL, right? So we have OpenGL resize update for rendering. We have EGL, which is like resize. Maybe he doesn't actually need to know, but at the very least, the like platform he's rendering on needs update. And then we have GBM, which definitely needs update, which is like actual spot where data is going. And this definitely needs to grow. Definitely. So I guess let's kind of check this EGL path. I'm actually not 100% sure. Like, I know that we can like query width and height for this thing, but it looks like he's kind of just querying the underlying surface. So I think this surface is like an EGL handle to the GBM thing. And so I think that as long as we swap the surface to the GBM surface that we want to use, I think we're kind of chilling. We kind of skimmed over some details here where there's a display, platform, platform, and surface. So this is like kind of like which GPU you're running on, kind of hand wavy. This is like who is rendering, like so like GBM in this scenario, and then the surface is like which buffer to render to, hand wavy. So I think what we should be able to do is on init right now we kind of unconditionally bind to some surface here. EGL make current, we say, hey, every time we do any EGL thing, we're going to do it on like when you render to this surface, essentially. And so I think that this EGL create window surface, this is taking a GBM surface and turning it into one that like he knows about in EGL land. Great. So I think this is the thing that we need to change, this GBM surface, I think. So how was this made? Oh, okay, so he does it with some configuration as well. How does this configuration chosen? An EGL configuration. I guess it's like, hey, how can the GPU render stuff? And then can we also check that the way that you render matches the format of the buffer that we're using? Which is hard-coded for now, so that's fine. I think that we store this config for later, make sure that as long as the new GBM surface that comes in is using the same like backing format, that config will still be valid, probably. And then later, we get a new we get a new surface. We get a new GBM surface somehow. Haven't really figured that out yet. And we kind of like just replace this thing. We kind of want to run like this stuff here. So we can kind of do this now. We can kind of like call like update surface or something. Do you plan on making this an actual product? I have like no desire to maintain products. So maybe not. But yeah, yeah, almost certainly not. Like there's a good chance that I will continue using it, and if people want to use it, they can. But like I won't be doing that. I won't be like, you know, it's not a goal of mine for people to use this thing, right? I don't really give a fuck. Okay, so this guy, he's gonna take in a new GBM surface, probably. Which we haven't really figured out what that's gonna look like yet. And I think that means that this guy, does he need to hold his surface? He does for when he gets width and height, right? So when we call update surface, we might want to be like, if we have one, if this is not equal to CEGL no surface, which I believe is like a special tag, then we can kind of like release the old one. I guess only after we make a new one, right? So this is like we're taking this new surface. We try to update him we try to make him based off of the new config, whatever. I think it'll probably be some sort of like strong typed thing. If there was a previous surface, we have to free that thing. So destroy surface, probably nice. And then we bind that here. And then we update the context that he's displaying that thing. I think that's all okay. I don't really know. We're just kind of making it up. But I think that's how it works. So then, just off rip, our surface is EGL no surface. And I think we need a valid OpenGL context. So I kind of think that initially we bind this with no surface. And it'll mean that like rendering can still happen, OpenGL calls can still happen, but they don't really go anywhere. I think that's how this works. Maybe here we even do this. Surface is equal to EGL no surface, and then we can use that here and here. Yeah, I think something like this. I don't really know. We'll play around. So, now theoretically, if this API works, which it might not. Oh, I guess we need to throw the config as well, right? We forgot that part. And then somewhere we were probably supposed to free this thing, right? Did we do that? No, but that's okay. 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 So now the only thing is we need to be able to, I guess, update our GBM context surface as well. So update surface size? I don't know, man. And actually, I guess like technically, if we can update the surface without resetting him, then we actually don't need to do this EGL rebind because he's going to already be bound to him. So maybe we should find out if we can do this first. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what kind of APIs we have on this GBM surface thing. GBM surface resize. We have, okay, GBM surface, create with modifiers. We have lock, release, destroy. It doesn't look like there's resize here, which would make sense, right? It kind of, I assume that we want to destroy the previous one and create a new one. That's what I assume. Which means we probably want some sort of like surface abstraction. I don't really know yet, but kind of feels like the kind of thing we'd want to do. Okay. And how does this look like? Sorry, I'm thinking. So I almost feel like this GBM context surface, I guess this just becomes this thing. Maybe we kind of say that there always is a valid surface. I think that's like not crazy. Actually, maybe we don't need this abstraction. We'll see. Let's start like this. So all we want to do is when we update the surface size, it's like we want to call this same thing that we were calling before in the same way. So I guess we at the very least want this like make surface. You know, something like this. That is whatever we were doing here. And here, I guess we pass in whatever the things are we want to pass in, right? So you have like device, which is a GBM device, probably. We have width. I don't know if these are I's or U's. U's. Looks like our format is hard-coded, modifiers are hard-coded, all of this is the same. So it's just literally like this. Okay. That seems reasonable so far. This looks like this thing is failable. So this is kind of like this. And then when we want to update the surface size, we kind of call like a new make surface. Okay, that seems pretty reasonable so far. And then new surface is this. Then we free the old surface, I guess. What are the parameters here? Just the surface itself. Okay, that seems reasonable. And then if we destroy this surface, it means that the handle in EGL will be invalid, right? So what we need to do here is, I think what we need to do here is bind the no surface thing temporarily, then destroy, create, then update again. I think it's like probably something like that. That is my guess. So first of all, does this work? This like EGL surface thing? If I pass in no surface, is he gonna be okay? I guess we'll do this. If GBM surface is not equal to null, we do whatever the fuck we would normally do. Otherwise, otherwise it's EGL no surface. Like this. Then if the previous surface is not no surface, we destroy it, then we assign, then we make current. Yeah, I think this all works with no surface now. So wherever the fuck we were in window, I think it's okay for us to just be like, update surface, null, right? Then we try GBM context, update surface size, width and height, which these were supposed to be U's. I don't know how these end up as I's. Which means that these are to be intcast, like this. Or bitcast is probably better. We'll see. I don't know, maybe. And then we update the surface again with the GBM context. Okay. What the fuck? Why can that fail? Why can that fail? Sure. I guess that's like a pretty major crash. I guess like assert, I guess. I think that's reasonable. I think it's like a pretty big bug if we manage to fuck this up. Okay. This thing certainly can fail. Okay, wait, what's the problem? Oh, this thing can't fail right now. So request resize now needs to be a triable function. I think that is also fair. And then all the implementers of this have to return like this. Arable. Where is this thing defined? It's in like wayland backend. We had another one of these that needs to do a little of this bad boy. Then we need the surface from this guy. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, he immediately crashes. What's going on here? Right, so we initially bound a surfaceless render to the EGL context here, and now he's trying to query that thing, and it doesn't exist yet until we get one resize, right? So we kind of fucked up here. We did kind of fuck up here, where the initial EGL context should bind the initial GBM buffer. We didn't do that. We fucked it up. Because we removed, yeah, because we did no service here. So initially, I guess we should do this. We should call make surface. Oh, I see. I see. That's fine. Just for now, I don't really like doing it this way, but this is easier than doing anything else right now. Fix me, factor out a more reasonable function, but whatever. This will do for now. This will do for now. Okay, so now he's segfaulting or something. What's going on now? Our EGL destroy surface is not EGL true. That's crazy. Oh, because we have to unbind it first? Oh, but he should already be unbound. No, because he's still attached. So this has to happen down here. We have to do this. Old surface is like this. And then I guess we have to do like we'll say old surface needs to be handled below. So we just make sure that this can't happen, but it can happen. So we actually do want like a defer here, I guess. So it's kind of like if old surface is not equal to this, then we use old surface here. Because we can't DNN him while he's bound, probably. It's probably something along those lines. Let's see. Still no. What happens to the neural net project? It just got to the point where I was happy with it. I was like, I don't really need to do any more here. So I didn't. Oh, okay. Weird. What am I missing here? Is EGL no surface? It should be fine. All right, let's just do this really quick, I guess. If this is not equal to EGL true, we'll do a crash use like this, I guess. What the fuck? Okay, that's a good sign. Why? Oh, I'm a dumbass. That's why. Assert is backwards. I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking dumb fucking idiot, man. Fucking assert, dude. Wait. Well, hold on. What the fuck? Assert? Whoa. How come in here I did if this is not equal to EGL true, I wanted to log the error and crash. How come that wasn't happening? Maybe I fucked the debug code up. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, so what happened here? EGL error. Oh, we want to format these as hex because they're easier to look at. I forgot. Okay. 300D. Bad surface. So this surface is not an EGL surface. He's claiming. He is claiming. Which seems crazy to me because this should always be set, no? Surface is either... Whoa. Okay. Am I stupid? Int from pointer old surface. And like, can we do this like as a size? Maybe I could have just logged the pointer. I forgot that you can do that in this language. Whatever. Yeah, this should be old surface, huh? Good eye. Yeah, good eye. Look at that shit, baby! Wait, that works fine. Let's fucking go, dude. Look at that. That is huge for us. I'm realizing now that compositor resize didn't come for free here. But it is effectively the same code. So I think I'm just gonna not do this right now. And this will be like a happy hour task. It's because we have like a lot of duplication between the client OpenGL context and the server OpenGL context, but they're not technically the same. So that might be something that I have to resolve in happy hour, but I'm just gonna ignore that for now. And instead work on it from the other perspective, right? So now we know all of the like APIs that need to be called in order for this to happen, right? It's actually not that crazy. It's literally just emit that configure event. And so I guess the first thing to do is just like hit test the window borders. And figure it out from there. So when we run swim now, I guess we want to like run, what's the fucking run window manager that opens it with fucking things inside? So what we want to do is we want to make it so that when I click over on the corner of this guy, you know, something happens, right? So in our hit testing code, when we do probably like notify mouse one down exists somewhere. Yeah, here you go. Notify mouse one down. I guess we find hovered window, and depending on where we hit, we're going to do something different, right? So this guy needs to tell us probably not just if we hit a border, but probably which border we hit. I think that's probably an important part of this, right? Because I think if we're resizing on the right side or the bottom side or the left side, it's going to kind of behave differently. I think. So I think this guy's window title bar location thing needs to say like right border, left border. Well, let's just do one for now, right? Let's just check the right border, and then once we get that working, we can update the other guys as well. But let's just start with one. So we have to be a little bit careful here, right? If I am a window manager, I think it is incorrect to like, okay, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I think what kwin's doing here is really reasonable, right? As I get to the very, very, very edge, let me make this come over here. As I get to like the very, very edge of the window, it doesn't trigger the resize thing until I'm outside the window, right? But then it gives me some space outside the window. To like allow for not pixel perfect mouse accuracy. So I think that we should do the same thing, right? Is we should have some sort of like margin outside the window, maybe just if we're on the border at all, where it counts as the right border, right? So I think that we want you know, self like right border quad. I think it's just like this, return right border, right? I think that's pretty reasonable. And then we just need this like right border quad. Vata, thank you for the gifty. Much appreciated. If the window's at or beyond the screen edge, should the hitbox be bumped in the reachable space? No, because if you're at the screen edge, it's easy to collide. Like I can easily get that pixel perfect accuracy on the screen edge because my mouse is in the screen, is like will stop moving. You know what I mean? So I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay, right border quad. What does this look like? It's going to be center Y is the surface center Y, probably. I think. The center X is going to be surface center X plus the width over 2. We probably want something that's like resize handle, border resize handle. I guess maybe we just use the trim size here for now. Maybe we just use the trim size, and maybe our trim styling will kind of be like transparent or something. Nah. We'll see. Resize, like trim, like extra, maybe we'll say trim size. Right, so we'll give them maybe like 8 pixels or something. We'll see. So we're gonna be like move over to. Hold on, I need to do some drawing. We have this, and then we have like this extra area here. So this is extra trim size here, extra trim size. So our center of this is going to be from here plus the width plus extra trim size over 2. Okay, cool. The width is extra trim size here, and the height is surface height, I think. If I am... what do we think should happen if I am in the title bar section here? I mean, I would never resize by dragging here. That's like insane behavior. So maybe we like adjust this to be like the whole window thing or something. But for now, I'm just gonna put a note here. I guess surface height plus trim size times 2, maybe. I'm just gonna put a fix me here. Like Uh, hard to say where the border for dragging should end. Let's just figure it out from there. Okay, so when we see right border, we say drag state is equal to probably like resize window right. I'm assuming that these should be independent. I don't actually know though. This is just my guess here. We don't have resize window right here, but we'll make it. So we'll do this for now. Fix me. Should this struct be a type shared by everyone? Not sure yet. Probably should. And then if we are resizing the window, we definitely want to update our cursor position. We have like a width change here. So we kind of want to do like, let's like get this guy. And can we get his source info here? Not sure. And we're going to be like, resize, request resize maybe? With what? Like the new width and height? Maybe? Do we have the width and height here? I guess we have the size of the last buffer we saw. We kind of have like, hold on. We have like the renderable buffer width here. So I guess we're requesting a resize with this plus, I guess we have like a dx in here. So this is like the current x minus last x. So probably something like this. Yeah, sure. And then does the resize, are these floats or ints or what? Or what? They're ints. So I think we do like int from float here. And then, oh, I guess we actually kind of need to do this. I'm actually not sure. Should probably cap new with the like 1 or something. Yeah, true. True. I actually feel like storing this with floats. I feel like many sub-pixel movements could easily get this out of sync, but we'll keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I mean, this is not crazy. I do, so this is a renderable buffer with int from float, like this. No, float from int. Then we do new width plus equals dx. We don't need to name that anymore. It's pretty obvious. If we do this, then we get new width here and renderable buffer height here. Okay. This all seems kind of reasonable. I guess we could say like new width is equal to the maximum of new width and 1. I agree with you there. And then we do need to like implement request resize. So this guy on each connection, we might have a resize here. And I guess this is on a window. So this is on a top level with a width and a height. And here we're like, interface is, you know, a XDG top level with ID is the top level, like this, easy. Then we say, could I please configure this guy with, you know, my writer, I guess. I'm going to say, I want the width and height to be these things. And we need to say states here. So for now, we're gonna hardcode these because we don't have like enum support in here. But we're just gonna get kind of like fucking wild with it. What was it, 3 and 4? I think that's what we saw somewhere. I think this is fine. I think that's fine. And then we have to emit a surface configure as well. I don't know if those happen all the time or if we have to do that now. We probably do. So we have an XDG top level surface. Do we have like connections between these guys to like which surface they're on? Do we even have like a top level anywhere for this thing? We have windows somewhere? Yeah. Does he know which surface he is? No, he does not. Does a surface know which top level he is? Yes. So does he know which XUG surface he is? It looks like our bindings go from XDG surface to WL surface. So taking in the XDG surface ID here is kind of the nicest. Because we can kind of go like, this is the surface ID. We can kind of go like, get XDG surface from the XDG surface ID. This is actually not. Const WL surface ID is XDG surfaces. Get XDG surface ID. We can crash if this is wrong. I guess we should be kind of like defensive here. Catch, return, error, invalid XDG surface. Crashing in this program is a pain in the ass because it means all of our fucking applications will die. So I guess we shouldn't fucking do that if we can avoid it. Surface is a WL surfaces. Get from the WL surface ID. Oh, this is or else, not catch. Or else return error invalid surface ID, WL surface ID, which would be even more surprising. Top level is surface top level ID or else return. I guess we just say so like not a valid render target, I guess is kind of true. Invalid render target or resize target. Sorry. There we go. So now we have our interface to do this thing, and we can go. This is the top level ID like this. Boom. And then we need to emit a surface configure as well. So surface. I guess it's just like this. This is the top level interface. And then we have the surface interface is one of these guys. Yeah. And here we're like, we need to emit this configure. With a serial. So do we do this somewhere else? Here. Emit XCG surface configure. Oh, we actually have this in a couple places. So we can kind of just do this. So I guess this guy needs to be get pointer. like this. I think you'll need an XGG top level configure without resizing the states array when you're done with resize. Interesting. We will see, but good to know. Good to know. And he's having a smoke when attacking a drag. Does this guy... So here we probably need to flush the IO writer? Probably. Probably. Okay, and then... This is all fine. He needs the surface here, so... Which we actually don't have here. So maybe we store that thing. Maybe we don't. I'm not really sure, but for now, we will just shove that XGG surface ID in there. Because he needs it, but I'm not the biggest fan of having to store all three. That seems silly, but yeah, I'm like not sure. Seems wrong to store all three surface, like WL XGG surface IDs when connection should know how they're related. Like, this is stupid. But for now, it's... I actually think that it's not trivial for us to get this information, actually. Yeah, it's actually not trivial the way it is. So we actually just have to fix this. So here's what we'll do. We will request resize on the WL surface. We will get the surface, and then from that surface, we need to figure out his XGG surface ID. So we will go the other way. So this is going to be like surface XGG ID, like this. And this will be not XGG surface or something. And then in here, we will store the XGG surface ID here. Perfect. And then somewhere we need to set this thing, right? So when we bind this thing, when we like attach this XGG surface somewhere in here, someone is going to be like, get XGG surface, and here we need to say surface XGG surface ID is params ID, or XGG ID. Like this. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So when we are removing renderable, this is the resize state. I think we have to do something similar here. So if we remove a window while we're resizing it, I think that this is literally the same. Just the same shit with a different type. Okay. This guy is the same thing, where if we move something while we're resizing it, we have to do the same update of who he's moving. And this all kind of seems to be working. No way! Look at that shit! Okay, so there's a bug in that we are not changing his position accordingly, right? And then it also looks like something goes wrong if... I actually don't know what caused that to close, but there was seemed to be something wrong there too. Yeah, did you see that? Something there was wrong. So it's like I grabbed the edge and I kind of just did this a bunch. I think it was like if I made it like way too small. But I'm not sure. So what's confusing here is like, how do we know as the compositor how to adjust the size of this buffer, right? That's kind of weird, right? Because I don't know. I guess we could check if, because like we're not providing any information to the window about how we are resizing this thing. I guess you could kind of argue that we know that we are in the middle of a resize of the right border, which means that like maybe you should be snapping the right border to where the cursor is. But like what happens if like they reject the size? Like do we, I guess we anchor, it's actually kind of the other way. If you're resizing the right, you anchor the left. Right? Yes, 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 yes. So as we are resizing, if the size has changed, we make sure that the left edge stays in the same spot. I guess. So in here, every time he gets like a buffer update, how does this like center position shit work? So we have swap buffer here. And in here, I guess we say like something like this. What? Here we need the drag state as well. So this has to come up a level. Unfortunately. So this is on compositor state now. And here he's like doing something like, I don't know. If we are dragging, I have a suggestion that might sound dumb. Can you have the code find the dimension of the window and use that to put borders and resizing and move the window? Was my suggestion dumb? I don't really know what you mean. I don't really know what you're asking. Can you have the code find the dimension of the window and use that to put borders? Yeah, I don't understand the question. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so if we are resize window right, here we like anchor left edge. In any other scenario, I guess it's kind of like it's kind of fine for it to just keep its center position. That's not crazy. But maybe that's not ideal either, but like fuck it, I guess. So here we need to be like I think it's like delta width of, we're gonna do this. We can do item buffer width minus new buffer width. Okay. And then if dw is not equal to 0, then we have dw here, and this is like plus equals plus delta width over 2. I feel like there's like off by like, I feel like there's pixel, like single pixel changes problems here, where because we're storing the center instead of the left edge, like we have to only move we only have to update the CX every other one. You know what I mean? Should it be new minus old? Yeah, probably. Probably. Yeah, there's something here where like odd pixel boundaries. Yeah, the fact that center X is stored in pixel position is kind of maybe wrong. we kind of need to like well define how the center works when it's on a half pixel boundary, which is not like well defined. Half pixel bound, half, like, sometimes the center is half a pixel in. But for now, I think we just ignore this. We'll see. I'd like to see what happens if we just do this like this. I think that he wants me to do this for integer division or something. Yeah. We'll just see what happens. I'm not really sure this is right, but I mean, it's definitely not right, but the window's also definitely sliding around. Huh. How confusing. What the fuck? Yeah, there's something wrong here. Let's do this, actually. We'll store the left edge here and try to keep it the same. So it's like item CX. We can set this such that the left edge stays in the same spot, right? So it's like so this is where we want to anchor it. Item CX is params left edge plus new buffer width over 2. Yeah. And then we have to fix the center shit, but this is at least helpful. So here we're gonna get like the renderable, and we're gonna be like, can we do something like I don't know. I don't know, man. Something like that. Something like that. Center half pixel, whatever. Okay. There we go. That's way more reasonable. So you do still see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is like minor jitter on the left edge for sure. But it's not that bad. This is like manageable for now. We should fix that eventually, but not right this second. You need to have the boxes in coordinates, I think. Yeah, or like instead of storing center, I should store top left or something. You know, something like that. Why is this fucking closing? Dropped file descriptor. Is that why I'm crashing? Oh. Interesting. Interesting. Does that closing happen in K1 as well? Yeah, I guess we should check, huh? I think it's probably something like, you can kind of see that as I resize, he starts to spin faster, right? which is because every time we get one of these resizes, I guess we are triggering a extra frame update or something. I'm not 100% sure there. And so we probably want to be careful about like spamming this thing, right? There might be something there where we might want to limit the amount of times that we send this resize request to like once per frame or something. Right? Maybe something like that. No, because I don't believe that we're going to be spamming. That's kwin asking for frame updates, not us. Does that happen in our oops, little race condition? One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi. It's like 3 for rotation. Oh fuck. One Mississippi, two. Yeah, I mean that's definitely faster. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, four Mississippi, one fuck. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we're getting spammed with updates. But is that a bug? It might be a bug where if we every time we get a configure, we say we want frame, which I think we just might not have to do. What happens if we just don't do that? He never renders the first frame. I see what's happening. So every time we get a resize, our window client thinks that we need to send a new frame, which should only be true. Maybe we should only do that one time. I just want to try this. If first configure. I just want to see what happens if we do that. Yeah, so that makes this a lot better, right? We don't see the same like speed up and slowdown. He's not like spamming that shit. Which should also help in our window manager case. However, now this is fucked up. That's really confusing. Hello? I guess maybe we don't have to store last cursor position anymore in our right border thing. Because we don't need to, we know where the cursor is relative to the left edge now. So we should be looking at that. So new width is x minus left edge. Saturating sub. Something like this? I guess it doesn't have to be saturating anymore. Okay. That seems kind of reasonable. Let's try that. Oh yeah, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. Look at that shit. Sorry. I don't know. All right. So that's pretty good. So we kind of did all of this, huh? So sometime before now, we also did this. And so now I think the only thing to change here is to add in the left and bottom borders. I think we could do corners as well, but I don't feel like it, so get fucked. So this should be pretty straightforward. We might find some like common code in here. We might not. I don't know if I'm like really too worried about it. But we'll see. So hello, where do we set this? Oh, here. So here's the right border. So we want left, top, bottom. And I guess we just have this same right border quad here. And I guess we probably want to do something. Maybe it's fine. So this is double minus here. Center-wise still the same. This is still the same. Top border quad is kind of like the surface, okay, center X is the center of the surface. Center Y is surface center minus surface height over 2 minus title bar height over 2 minus extra trim size over 2. Something like this. Something crazy. Something crazy. Width is going to be surface X plus trim size times 2, probably. And then the height is extra trim size. Something like this. So this actually should be extra trim size over 2, right? Times 2? Yeah, I think everywhere we have trim size in there should be extra. And then the bottom is going to look similar, but he doesn't have to take into account the title bar anymore, and it's plus. No, I was wrong. This should be trim size, not extra. Wait. No. I don't know. Bottom border quad. Yeah, the width should be visual. Visual width, but extra height. And then in the other one should be visual this. God, that's confusing. Width is wrong there. Should be surface width plus extra trim size over 2. X is width. Y is height. Yeah, you're right. This is surface width. What am I fucking smoking here? Wait, is that involved at all? Yes. My bad. My bad! Okay. So, if we see the right border, I think all of these are like somewhat unique, right? Because we are storing this thing as left edge, it means that if we're like resize window top, we want to stash the like bottom edge, right? And maybe there's some commonality here, right? There might be some common code to pull it here, but I don't know what it is yet. So we're just going to keep going and figure it out from there. Okay, so when we are doing the left edge, we still get a new width, but it's the other way round, right? It's the right edge minus the cursor position. So this is definitely common. This is like only like single line difference with right? So there's something fucking here. Okay, Okay, and then the top and bottom. Resize window. Top is anchoring the bottom edge, so this is now all height related. So this is like, chunk feels duped with left right, but I don't really know how yet. There, it feels like there's something. Is this the right direction? So if we are resizing the top, where our height is bottom is greater than top, so this makes sense. And then this is the old buffer width and our new height. And then for bottom, we are anchoring the top, and this gets inverted. Cursor pause y minus. Yeah, so there's something to find in here. I don't know what it is yet. And we probably got something wrong here, but int from float on these guys. Okay. Then there's gonna be other people here that are mad, so I think all of these are the same. These like drag state updaters. Swap renderable buffer. So it looks like left and these are all independent. So here we are anchoring the right edge. So it's kind of like this. On top, we're resizing the top. Bottom resize is wrong. Yeah, I can tell I'm tired, so I'm like kind of missing some stuff for sure. But I assume that it'll become very obvious once I start testing it where I fucked up. But thank you for the note. Okay. So here on notify mouse one down, it's like depends on who we hit. So if we are on the left border, we are resize window left with the right edge as a plus. Top border, we are doing a resize top, and we are anchoring the bottom edge of y plus height over 2. And then bottom border is we go to bottom and we anchor the top. Like this. All right. This is probably all the same. This is for movement, so resize window left, resize window top, resize window bottom. All right. All right. And then I think we have to actually return these sometimes, and we're not doing that. So I think we do title quad after, and then we just do boom, boom, boom. Okay. So this is left border. And I think that you could argue, by the way, that like doing all of these intersection tests is maybe like wrong. There might be some like more efficient way of doing this than testing quads over and over again, right? Like you might be able to immediately deduce the quad from the position somehow, right? I'm not really sure, but fuck it. All right. Okay, so right resize should still be right, and then left resize feels okay. Top feels fucky. And then bottom is definitely broken, like you said. Because the top needs to use the buffer height. This top border needs to take into account, both of these actually, need to take into account the title bar size, probably, right? Yeah. So where's this swap renderable? It's probably more like the actual notify cursor movement or something. Only top was meant on the thing, I thought. Yeah, I guess it depends on how you represent it, but you could be right. Okay, so resize window top. We are, I guess we just subtract. Yeah, I think we subtract the title bar height here or something. So what is happening here? We say the new height is the renderable buffer height. So that's with no change. Minus cursor pause y. I guess this is like plus. Probably something like this. I don't know. We'll fucking figure that out later. Fix me bad abstraction. So wait, let me think about this. New height. We want to. We're saying, look at where the cursor is. The distance from the bottom edge to the cursor. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks kind of right. Let's try it. How is the hit testing on that? Why? I feel like we're not hit testing it correctly ever. Which is interesting because I feel like we saw it at least once. Oh, we also have this open multiple times, which is going to get confusing very quickly. Okay. And then bottom, because what? Do we forget to swap order or something? New height is this. We have the new cursor position minus top edge with an extra minus in there for some fucking reason. The anchoring here is definitely not right. But it looks like the buffer resizing when we grab the bottom is right. It's just for some reason he's not anchoring the top correctly. Item center Y is equal to the top edge plus new buffer height over 2. Wait, that seems fine. Are we like... Am I stupid? New buffer height over 2 from the top edge. Top edge is where this thing, when we see the bottom border, we look at the center Y when we started, minus the buffer height over 2. Okay, wait, that seems fine. What am I missing? What the fuck? How strange. It feels like it's moving half as much as it's supposed to, which would be kind of the same as if we weren't doing the anchoring at all. Like, did I fuck up like an XY somewhere? Resize window bottom. So this is when I move the cursor and I'm on the bottom. We look at the new cursor position minus the top edge, where this is the top edge of the buffer, probably. Then we request a resize with the new height. Okay. Oh. So, like, no, this is, okay, so we are trying to find the center Y, and we're like, go from the top and add the buffer height over 2. What if I just don't do that, because it felt wrong? Dude, it's like equally incorrect. What in the actual fuck? That's weird. Right, because that should have changed a lot. I think you're calculating top edge incorrectly, but then, like, shouldn't the top edge, like, be... I'm confused. Stood, debug, print, top edge. Let's just do this for a second. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Why do I not see top edge in here at all? That's more concerning. Am I not going into resize state? Notify mouse 1 down. Bottom border. Resize window bottom. Are we not returning with bottom border? Maybe that's the problem. Okay. Like, is the and then the bottom border quad could also be wrong. All of these things could be the problem. Although that looks pretty right. It is because OpenGL is 0, 0 bottom left, but I think that we should be working in pixel space here. I think. Let's do this. Okay, first of all, who's fucking spamming? Got format, like, we need to fucking turn some of this shit off. Rendering. And then... Can we change this to an error? Does that look a little better? No. Oh, because I'm fucking running this twice at once again? I keep forgetting. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so clicking this doesn't seem to be triggering anything, which is interesting. Or at least it's not... Oh, wait, I didn't... Clicked... Okay, clicked bottom border, clicked top border, clicked left border, clicked right border. Let's start here. Let's start here. Okay. Oh, I guess technically it's not clicked, but sure. He is detecting the bottom border correctly. Which is interesting. So this is now we're going to look at mouse down somewhere. Marking, let's do this. Marking top edge at this. right? Maybe this is something. Oopsies. Oopsies. Okay. Does that tell us anything interesting? Okay, so he's like, I'm marking. So as far as I can tell, when he marks it, it's correct. Right? Like, it is. If I like put this, oh, all the way up at the tippy top, and I click this, it's like marking top edge at 35, which is close. So that feels right, which makes me feel like the when we are resizing, this is the problem. So can we say here, it feels like the resize size is correct. I'm more worried about where, like, when we get the new position, the new buffer, it feels like the calculation is wrong. That's how it feels to me. Which would be here. Top edge here. Oh! I see. We weren't entering this case where we weren't doing the anchoring correctly. There we go, baby. Okay, so now there's a bug here where the top edge is being calculated from, it's like definitely in the wrong spot. I can't really place it, but like the top border is definitely just calculated wrong. Definitely just calculated wrong. CY is the surface Y minus the surface height over 2 minus the total bar height over 2. Okay. Minus the extra trim size over 2. Surface center Y. Wait, that all seems right. Maybe minus title bar height total. Yeah, I think that was it. Okay, so now clicking it is correct, ish, sometimes. But then the height calculation like freaks out after. Right? So it's the request for height. I think we're compensating incorrectly for the title bar height. So maybe I should have been a minus somewhere. There we go. Wait, that feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Wowzer. Wowzy wowzer. That's pretty good. First try. Yeah. First try. Cool. I mean, it's not perfect. Definitely not perfect. But it's a lot better than it was a second ago. So I think, wow, almost perfect timing too. A little 1 hour, 49-minute stream. I will take that. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I think we're gonna call it there. If you like what you saw, we stream most days. We aim for 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 4, to 4 o'clock Pacific time. I did say the right thing. It is 4:10 now, so anywhere between 3.5 hours ago and 10 minutes ago is when you should expect to see us live. We're working on this window manager, but there's a variety of stuff in the YouTube catalog if you want to check that out. YouTube link in the Twitch description. If you're watching on YouTube, catch us live. You can chat and shit. Yeah, there's some segments of the stream do not go up, some do, right? So anytime we're doing like general code cleanup, or like we leave a bunch of code in like a shitty state like we did today, A lot of that cleanup goes into the 12:30 to 2 segment. And if you want to see that, you can catch it live, or that segment gets posted on Patreon or YouTube members or Twitch VODs, whichever. And if you pay in the appropriate spot, you get access to the rest. We do that because, I need some way to support the stream. When I run out of money, I have to get a job. And so this is kind of like a way for me to give these guys something back if you choose to support. But obviously, no pressure. No pressure. I think that's it. My brain is just fucking mush right now. I'm like not all the way there anymore. So I think this is a good time to end it. Thanks for watching, guys. YouTube, peace out, and Twitch, let's find someone to raid.